What if I told you that 21 years after the Challenger disaster, a teacher finally made it to space to complete the mission that captured the world's heart? Barbara Radding Morgan didn't just become an astronaut. She became the living embodiment of dreams deferred but never abandoned, carrying the hopes of educators everywhere beyond Earth's atmosphere. In 1985, when NASA announced the Teacher in Space program, the nation buzzed with excitement. The idea was revolutionary. Send a teacher to space, someone who could share the wonder of space exploration with students in a way no astronaut ever could. Barbara Morgan, an elementary school teacher from McCall, Idaho, applied alongside 37,000 other educators. She made it to the final 10, then watched as Krista McAuliffe was selected as the primary candidate. Morgan became the backup. On January 28, 1986, the world watched in horror as Challenger exploded 73 seconds after launch. McAuliffe and 6 other crew members perished, and with them, seemingly, the dream of teachers in space. But Barbara Morgan made a promise that day. She would honor Krista's memory and complete the mission they both believed in. Morgan's path to space wasn't typical. Born in Fresno, California, she grew up with a passion for both education and exploration. She earned her degree in human biology from Stanford University, but her heart belonged in the classroom. She taught elementary school for over a decade, inspiring young minds with hands-on science experiments and creative learning approaches. Her students didn't just learn about the solar system, they built models, conducted experiments, and dreamed of touching the stars. When NASA selected her as McAuliffe's backup, Morgan threw herself into astronaut training with the same dedication she brought to teaching. She learned to operate spacecraft systems, practiced spacewalks in underwater pools, and endured the crushing forces of centrifuge training. But after Challenger, the Teacher in Space program was suspended indefinitely. Most people would have returned to their normal lives. Morgan refused to give up. For 15 years, she continued teaching while keeping her astronaut dreams alive. She became a spokesperson for NASA's educational programs, traveling across the country to share the excitement of space exploration with students. She reminded them that learning never stops, that curiosity can take you anywhere, even to the stars. Her message resonated because she lived it every day. In 1998, NASA finally called Morgan back. The space agency was ready to resume sending educators to space, and they wanted her to be the first. At age 46, when most people settle into comfortable routines, Morgan embarked on the most challenging chapter of her life. She left her classroom in Idaho and moved to Houston to begin full-time astronaut training. The training was grueling. Morgan learned to pilot the space shuttle, master complex scientific experiments, and work in the weightless environment of space. She studied Russian to communicate with international partners on the space station. She practiced emergency procedures until they became second nature. Through it all, she never forgot her mission. She wasn't just training to be an astronaut. She was training to be education's ambassador to space. Morgan's fellow astronauts quickly recognized her unique perspective. While they focused on technical aspects of missions, she thought about how to share these experiences with students. She planned lessons from orbit, designed experiments that classrooms could replicate, and imagined ways to make space accessible to young minds. Her teaching background made her an invaluable crew member. On August 8, 2007, 21 years after Challenger, Barbara Morgan finally launched into space aboard Endeavour. As the shuttle lifted off, she carried with her the dreams of teachers everywhere and the memory of Krista McAuliffe. The mission she had waited decades to complete was finally beginning. During her 13 days in space, Morgan conducted 4 live educational events with students around the world. She demonstrated how liquids behave in microgravity, showed how plants grow in space, and answered hundreds of questions from curious young minds. She proved that teachers don't just belong in classrooms. They belong wherever learning happens, even 250 miles above Earth. One of Morgan's most moving moments came when she displayed a photograph of Krista McAuliffe during a live broadcast to students. She spoke about dreams, perseverance, and the importance of never giving up on what you believe in. Her words carried the weight of 2 decades of preparation and the hopes of countless educators who saw space as the ultimate classroom. Morgan's space experiments weren't just for show. She conducted serious scientific research on how flames behave in microgravity, how crystals grow in space, and how the human body adapts to weightlessness. She proved that educator astronauts could contribute meaningfully to space science while inspiring the next generation of explorers. The impact of Morgan's mission extended far beyond her time in space. She showed that ordinary people with extraordinary dedication could achieve seemingly impossible goals. Her journey from small-town teacher to space explorer inspired millions of students to pursue science, technology, engineering, and mathematics careers. She demonstrated that learning is a lifelong adventure that knows no boundaries. After returning to Earth, Morgan continued her dual mission of education and exploration. She worked at NASA's Johnson Space Center, developing educational programs that brought space science into classrooms worldwide. She wrote children's books about space exploration, always emphasizing that curiosity and hard work could take anyone anywhere. Morgan's story resonates because it's fundamentally about perseverance and purpose. She waited over 2 decades to complete her mission, never losing sight of why she wanted to go to space in the first place. She understood that her role wasn't just to be an astronaut who happened to be a teacher, but to be a teacher who used space as her classroom. Her legacy lives on in every student who looks up at the night sky and wonders what's possible. She proved that teachers are natural explorers, always seeking new ways to engage and inspire their students. She showed that the most powerful lessons often come from the most extraordinary classrooms. Today, as we stand on the brink of new space exploration eras, Barbara Morgan's mission remains more relevant than ever. She reminds us that space exploration isn't just about rockets and robots. It's about human curiosity, the drive to learn, and the courage to pursue dreams that seem impossible. She honored Krista McAuliffe's memory by proving that teachers truly can reach for the stars and touch them. Barbara Radding. Morgan didn't just become the first educator to complete a space mission. She became proof that some dreams are worth waiting for, that dedication can overcome any obstacle, and that the best teachers never stop exploring new frontiers, no matter how far from Earth they might be.